Hey yo, this is Dash, and continuing on with the most frequently asked questions, this next question, as you can see by the title, is one that almost everybody has. The question is, how much food do you need? Hey yo, this is Dash. Alright, so basically, in a nutshell, what I normally recommend is a half a pound of meat per person. Actually, let me take a step back. What I normally recommend whenever someone asks me for a catering quote is I usually give them a base, and the base number I usually give them is a half a pound of meat per person plus a 25% overage. So let's do some quick math, and I'm gonna try to slide over here and see if I can put the math up over here. Now, if I have an event and the person that's organizing the event that's contacting me says, I have 50 people. Okay, we have 50 people. We take that 50 people and we divide it in half. That gives us 25, okay? Again, half a pound of meat per person, it gives us 25. We take that 25 and we multiply it by 1.25, which is adding an additional 25%. You add that 25%, you get 32.5. So you're gonna need 32.5 pounds of protein only, okay? Now, 32.5, that's kind of an odd number, so what I usually do is round down to the closest 5, or I'll round up to the closest 5, or 6, maybe 4, depending on how close or how many people they're estimating, and you can figure those numbers out pretty much. It'll come to you, so don't worry about that just yet. But for this particular instance, again, we're looking at our number of 32.5. Now, let's take that 32.5, and again, I said we're gonna round down. So let's round down to 30 with the base quote. We're going to say we're going to need 10 pounds of brisket, 10 pounds of pork, and 10 pounds of chicken. So 10 pounds of beef brisket, there's your beef option. 10 pounds of pulled pork, there's your pork option. And 10 pounds of chicken, there's your chicken option. Again, I've said this before, people who eat pork will eat pork. People who don't eat pork will usually eat beef. And people who usually don't eat pork and or beef will typically eat chicken. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, but why not do ribs? Why not do chicken wings? Why not do all other things like that? You can offer those things. I personally recommend, I start with the beef, the chicken, and the pork. If someone specifically asks for ribs, I give them a quote for ribs. Ribs are a lot harder to portion, so that's why it's not the first thing I offer, because of the difficulty to portion. Because it's difficult to portion, you can get somebody that might be able to eat a whole rack of ribs by themselves. That's not fair to your other guests or to the party's other guests, because somebody's just being greedy. So to alleviate that, you remove the option from the table. By removing the option from the table, you should be able to have better portion control. Now, with those portions, the pulled pork and the chopped chicken or pulled chicken, you can have those on slider buns, which is an upsell. So you can upsell those slider buns and offer that person, the coordinator, that as an option. You can also offer burger buns or burger size buns, but the portions for a burger size bun will be slightly higher than a portion for a slider bun. So those are things that you're going to have to figure out pretty much by yourself and go from there. Now, let's talk sides quickly. Sorry, I'm sweating here. So let's talk sides. Sides are one of the things that I can honestly tell you I'm still figuring out. Some places you go, people just eat more sides than they do others. I made mention of the fact that I've actually purchased a lot of the sides that I do, a lot of the cold sides, but I purchased them and I doctor them up, which means I add a little bit of seasoning. I do a little thing to make it just not go directly from the box or the container or the tub or whatever it comes in to the table. I do doctor them up and I re-container them. Usually I give an estimate for a half pan to fit about a half catering pan will fit between 5 and 8 pounds of potato salad, coleslaw, macaroni salad, things like that. A full-size catering pan can probably fit 15 pounds of, again, potato salads, coleslaws, macaroni salads, other things like that. Now, as far as hot sides, I've done baked beans, I've done string beans, I've done, yeah, baked beans and string beans. I don't offer macaroni and cheese. Macaroni and cheese is so subjective. It's one of those things where I like the way that I make macaroni and cheese, or I might like the way that I make macaroni and cheese, but someone else doesn't. I would hate for someone to not want to order from me again just simply because they didn't like my macaroni and cheese. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying with that. The sides are just one of those things that you're gonna have to muddle through. I'm still trying to figure it out. I've done plenty of catering jobs, and I really wish I could give you better feedback on how to guess or figure out how many pounds or how many small pans or large pans you're gonna need. I would typically say for every 25 people, you're gonna need at least a half pan of a particular side. That seems to be a pretty decent number. That's usually the number I go by. So if I have 50 people, what I normally would recommend is maybe 2 different types of potato salad and maybe a coleslaw. If I'm having 100 people, I'm going to pretty much double that. I would have 2 full pans of 2 different types of potato salad, 1 full pan of coleslaw, and maybe a half pound of macaroni salad, just to give some variety for your event. Unfortunately, sides again are just, they're not my strong suit as of yet. I haven't gotten that down pat. But the meat portion, I typically have the meat portion pretty much spot on. Now those weights are post-cook weights. I have done videos in the past about net versus yield after cooking, and your mileage shouldn't vary that much, but you're going to have to figure out, if you're selling 100 pounds of pulled pork, you're going to need to pretty much cook to 180 to 200 pounds of pulled pork so that you can make sure that you have the amount of meat that you need that you've sold. Same thing goes for briskets. Brisket, I have about a 50% loss. Chicken usually works out to be about a 75% yield over cook weight versus the yield after cook weight. So hopefully that's helpful. Unfortunately, I do apologize again. The sides are just not my strong suit. Just guessing so far. So far, I've been doing pretty well. Because the sides are inexpensive and or an upsell, I don't always make the sides for folks or have sides for folks, which sometimes can help, period. Thank you again as always for watching. If you're enjoying this series, please comment below and let me know what you think. If you have any specific questions about this particular topic, again, leave your question down below. If you like what you saw today, or if you learned something, please leave me a thumbs up. If you aren't already subscribed, what are you doing with your life? Why haven't you subscribed to my channel yet? Make sure you turn the notification bell on so you can get notified as soon as one of these videos goes live. And I'll see you next time.